Welcome. What does it mean to be shattered? Let's say you just received some devastating news. Let's say you found out that there's going to be a divorce in your family. Something happened with your job, that you lost employment, or that there was some sort of death in the family. Your life is just turned upside down. You're in a shock crisis situation. So what are you going to do? However, shattered could also mean that something has happened to your confidence, to your illusions, to your innocence, to your hopes. So what is it that actually shattered? Well, it's probably something along the lines of your emotional safety and consistency. Now we know that change is inevitable, so it must be down to our perception of how we view this that's going to matter in terms of giving us emotional freedom. Today, I would like to propose that being shattered could actually be a gift. According to Eleanor Roosevelt, no one can make you feel inferior unless you give consent. An emotional experience or trauma really does not have to send us into a negative spiral. Actually, according to what Roosevelt told us, we would actually have to consent to that for that spiral downward to take place. So if being shattered is actually a gift, then how do we use it right here? And the answer is that we can use it to break free from all these barriers, remove any interferences, and motivate ourselves out of this downward spiral into this new freedom. However, you can choose to use this opportunity to break free from any kind of interferences, from any of these barriers that are holding you back, and any kind of unrealistic expectations that keep you shackled. Enter the way of the emotional warrior. Think of becoming a master of the Wu ways. These are subtle ways of being. Consider a tree that with all of the windstorm that is coming around it can bend and yield in any direction. It does not fall down. It doesn't break. It can weather any kind of storm. Think of the moment where the master says to the student, you have to fail many, many times before you are unrelenting. That is the way to become resilient. So let's say the shock comes into your system. You find out that your company has been sold in a merger. You and your job have just been eradicated. And this is horrible news. I mean, you have a family with needs. You have bills to pay. You have all of these considerations of a certain lifestyle that you have left. That certainly is an emotionally shattering moment. Too often in the West, we simply ask unhelpful, low-quality questions. For example, why is this happening to me? This sets up a victim mindset. The emotional warrior would ask the following: what is this gift that's happening for me? This sets up the resilient growth stage. This is where we have to take stock of what it is that we have. What resources do we have available? Two tracks emerge. First of all, you have to ask yourself, do I want to recover? If I do, then I'm going to take the recovery track. That's one where I want to bounce back as quickly as possible. So you start to look for resources that will help facilitate that. Track 2, on the other hand, is the one of chronicity. And what that means is that I enter what we call a spin cycle, where you just start to go down and down further. This is where things that happen to you create more problems, and then you try to get out from under and more problems emerge. There's just no winning in this. All right, congratulations. You chose recovery. Good for you. Now, the first thing you need to do is remove any interferences. So by doing this, we can look at the work of Richard Bolstad. And he interviewed with war victims, tsunami survivors, and PTSD survivors. I mean, these people, they got through things that they never should have even survived. So what traits do they have in common? And what he found is that what they have in common is that they had a great sense of humor. Then He found that they had a great support network. They would reach out to friends, and they knew that these people had something positive to offer them in terms of getting out. And that with their positive mindset, they knew how to use the resources that were available to them. Now, let's take a look at the neuroscience. How can this help us to be an emotional warrior? First of all, there is something known as the limbic system. This is the lizard brain at the bottom of your brain. It's responsible for fight or flight, food, mood, in terms of you being able to react to the environment in fight or flight at any given time. The limbic system's primary job is to keep us safe. It puts us into fight or flight. Now at that point, you have a choice. I can get out of safety really quickly and choose to do either some sort of growth mindset work, or I can use it to become debilitating and to keep me situated in a fear situation mindset. Believing that life events are happening to you is a victim stance. It's a victim mindset. All right, so let's take a look at these life events that are happening for you. If that's true, what does this mean? And the answer is that it allows you to move into a growth mindset. You can move forward. You can be so much more. Now your shattering experience becomes a liberation situation. It's one that allows your mindset to become free. You can become someone that you can direct towards becoming a fulfilled human being. The brain is very plastic, science says. We call this neuroplasticity. That means it is constantly opening itself up on a daily basis for new adventures. It wants to go on these adventures with you. So the brain's neurons and the heart's sensory neurites want to constantly build new connections and make new social networks. This is a reflection of what's happening outside. So you have to master this on the inside first, and then the outside life starts to reflect this. When we have all of this connected, the heart and the mind and the outside world, this is known as heart-brain coherence. And in this state of coherence, we can live a very harmonic, balanced life. Also, the science supports that our emotions are the basic pieces of the human condition that help us in resilience. In 2010, a peer-reviewed study by the National Institute of Health, the researcher being Carol Izzard, found two things: that emotions are at the core of the human neurological pathway system, and two, she proposed that these neurological networks of emotions also elevate our consciousness, and they allow us to up-level. According to author Tony Robbins, with the right emotions, we can do anything. Emotional warrior. The science supports that we can free ourselves and move towards resilience and growth mindset. Now that we've made the decision to move out of triage, we have to muster up and find a ton of determination. We need to figure out how to propel ourselves from this crisis into the growth situation. The brain is highly resourceful if we ask it to be. Now it is time for the emotional warrior to move forward with intention and purpose. The emotional warrior seeks growth and fulfillment through inspired action. Now that you have removed all interference, you can move forward to design your best life. You are the creative, artistic force in your life. You now get to actually remove any of the negative anchors in your life that keep you pulled in a downward spiral. You are the creative and artistic force that you really are. You get to reframe your story and remove any interferences that cause you to crash your emotional life. You get to recontextualize the direction of your life. And that means you can take on the long-term view instead of the short-term view that can get you into trouble. You have vision, you have purpose. You can say thank you for the job that was eradicated, because now you get to step in and you get to move your life forward the way you want to. You get to express gratitude for all those people and things that have moved out of your way and that have cleared the path for you to become your authentic self. Your soul gets the opportunity to grow and to flourish, and you get to center into your wu-wei warrior. The student says, "Master, do you think that I could actually ever become an emotional warrior?" The master says to the student, "Grasshopper, be like the tree. Have many, many roots. Have a strong center. And reach for the stars." Thank you.